gonna play out? Like, where's he? When the cut happens, the shot's already gonna be in motion.
So you're already running.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a chaotic cut. Yeah, so he's gonna like when it actually cuts, we're already in the motion of the whole thing.
So this shot is just you running.
I mean, that's in the script, right? Because you staircase, out the staircase, front and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So it's all like a very chaotic series of cuts.
Get back here, motherfucker!
How are you guys gonna lab up vision, or were you just doing booth? I'm okay. When I sat down to write this film and I was brainstorming ideas with it, I knew that I wanted to make a film that captured the real chaos of the young adult, specifically in the time period where it's that super hectic gap between finishing college or like you're done with college to now I'm possibly in a career and now I have bills that are showing up that I didn't have to worry about before and that sort of thing. Just kind of this natural fear that's bubbling with a lot of young people in that very uncertain time in their life.
Hi, I'm Cecil. I'm going to school to be a filmmaker. Well, I want to.
I knew that I wanted to make a film that tackles a lot of real things that a lot of young people really do feel, something that might go overlooked for a lot of some of the older generations or even our parents. Not that I felt this way in particular, but I definitely do feel that there is a stigma against younger people's struggles, that somehow because we're younger and because that we don't have the same issues that our grandparents did or something like that, then that suddenly makes our issues any less relevant or any less real. I wanted to really tackle a story about a struggling person at a struggling point in their life. And I hope that a lot of people would be able to connect with that element of his character, in one way or another.
Are you a sad person, Cecil?
I don't want to be.
And when you're shooting with a crew of guys that you're familiar with and guys that you're friends with and guys that have been with you throughout your entire time in film school, there is definitely, you have to know when to switch, right? Because I'm friends with these guys and we joke around and that sort of thing. And of course we're friendly with each other and, we've got history with each other, but it's all about knowing when to switch into that mode of, okay, guys, we're making something, we have to get this done, and we want this to be as quality as possible. We don't want it to look like a couple of jabronis hanging out just making a YouTube video. We want a real production here, and we want something that's really going to affect some people.
Whenever you get attacked by...
We're running
by your... Was it? It starts with an E, right? Or what's the girl's name?
Mia.
They named her after the main character in the reboot for The Evil Dead. Oh, okay.
Because that game is literally The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Keeping that focus was definitely something I've got to credit to our first AD, Jacob Kelly, who was actually my first roommate ever. But Jacob really did a great job in keeping everyone on schedule. We were ahead of schedule for most of the shoot.
Roll sound. You ready for sound? Roll sound.
Sound speeding.
Camera rolling.
Okay. Pardon me. Scene 8, hallway scene. Take 1, mark.
Organizing ourselves and conducting ourselves in a way that when working with people that were our teachers and our instructors and our mentors at one point, now we really have to look professional in front of them and carry ourselves in a way that says, okay, we're driven, we're hungry, we want to do this, we're going to do everything in our power to make this shoot as organized as possible.
They told the parents, he always made it intentional that the parents would be if they were traveling with the kid, he brought kids on tour with him. And the parents would be like, oh yeah, celebrity, having fun, being friends.
Even with the fact that these guys were my friends and are my friends, when I presented the idea to them of making this film, and when I had finished the first draft of the script that I had, and I said, okay guys, would this be something that you're interested in? There were definitely a lot of nerves that shot up in just making that proposal. In this case, I was about a month or two removed from shooting a film as a cinematographer, a short film that I worked on while I was in film school, actually closing out my time at film school, my very last month, called Toxic. And we shot that film on the Arri Alexa, which is just incredible to work with. as anyone would know. It was really important to me shooting that and approaching this film so that I could communicate with my cinematographer, Marshall Haque, of course, and really create some really beautifully framed shots that we do have in this film, but know exactly why those were beautiful and know exactly what we were looking for in a shot. Should this shot be handheld or should this shot be on sticks? All those types of conversations are very like rudimentary work. That's kind of stuff that you discuss in the pre-production process. But I think having those conversations and even switching things up a little bit while we were actually shooting them. Okay, now we've seen this shot this way. Do we want to still keep this shot handheld or do we want to put it on sticks? It's not only having the freedom to make minor adjustments while you're actually shooting things and being that locked in with your crew, but it's also having the discernment of knowing when to do those things and having the ability to let go. I think as a director and as the writer of this film, I had to let go of certain things while shooting this that I originally thought of. Okay, when I wrote the script, I definitely saw it this way, but it was knowing those moments of when to change things that I think really opened up the shooting process and just made this one a breeze in some ways, a little stressful in others, but when you're a first-time filmmaker, you see everything as stressful.
Yeah, we're probably gonna start out over there for that medium close-up, and remember, like how we did the shot with Fisher, we need to maintain the frame as the camera is moving back. Shoot, Ricardo, do you feel ready for this?
Yeah.
When you're writing a script, I think there is a very important element to sort of try to imagine someone and envision someone in the role. Of course, a lot of people write specifically for actors that they want to star in those roles. But for me, it was really trying to go through my life and envision someone that I felt embodies all of the traits of this character. Someone who is patient, someone who is caring, someone who really will hear you out and really understand your struggles. That, for me, was Angela Allison. It was extremely important for me to have Angie in this film as the therapist character who Cecil spends most of his scenes with in this film, because Angie, to me, in my life, was a person who, yes, she was an instructor of mine while I was in film school, but she introduced me to this role that I signed up for as my second choice on the month that we were shooting this particular project that I met Angie on. And really, I had no idea what the expectations were for that role. I just picked it because I thought it sounded cool. Angie introduced me to the wild world of being a script supervisor, and that really propelled me into working in this position that I think 100% every director should be a script supervisor before stepping into directing. It gives you such a knack for detail and such an eye for detail, and it gives you really you get experience working with actors and communicating with actors, and to have someone guide me through that as carefully as she did and be as understanding as she was with someone that had never done it before or even knew what the heck he signed up for when he picked the role. I think that really translated itself to even me writing this script. You never really picture your teachers outside of work, I guess, or outside of school. But in this case, I saw both Angie and Larry Katz, who's also in the film, as just more than instructors. To me, they were mentors and they were friends to a certain extent. These are people that I'm able to talk to outside of school, and I think that really lends itself to the dynamic that Angie's character and my character have in this film. And just relating that to Cecil's character, Cecil as a character, I think you have to have someone caring and someone patient draw out whatever hope there is left in a character like Cecil, who is very much a nihilist and has this very narrow view on the world. He kind of not only doubts himself, that's of course obvious, but there's a loneliness to his character that it's almost like a lone wolf kind of element to his character, an aspect to his character that he's broken down, he's got no faith in himself. And I think the role of a teacher, the role of a mentor, is meant to obviously correct that, but also uplift. And I feel that Angie did that a lot of the time in film school with me, and as I learned that script supervisor position, now suddenly I found a love for something that an aspect of film that I didn't even know really existed, and that an aspect of film that I could have never envisioned myself even in. I didn't care about script supervision, but I think when you have the right person to guide you into certain things, I think now you can approach those things with confidence and really get an appreciation for them. When I pitched this film to Angie and pitched this whole idea of her being in the film, honestly, it was one of the most nervous points at that period in my life that I probably had. I remember emailing Angie and setting up a little appointment. I remember hustling around during golden hour. It was pretty out, the sun was going down, it was cooler out, hustling from one side of campus to the other on my sister's old penny board that she handed down to me, and I'm riding around on the penny board on campus. When I arrive in Angie's office, I'm out of breath, and I said, Angie, I have this idea. I'm not sure how you're going to feel about this. I don't know if you've acted before, but I really, really would like to see if you'd want to be in this film that I'm doing. It's a short film, and I think you'd be really good in it. Pretty much without hesitation. Of course, she said she wanted to read it and get familiar in that kind of thing, but she was very on board with it after I explained what it was and why we were making it and that sort of thing. So, okay, so you cross one teacher off of the list. Now I've got to go to Larry Katz, someone who is a professional first assistant director, second assistant director, really an established guy in the industry, a close mentor, a friend, but is he going to be down with this script? Is this something that he's even going to consider? Would he be offended by the fact that I was trying to offer him this particular role? Sitting down in front of Larry and basically explaining what was going on and catching up as we always had, but knowing on my mind and on my heart what I was going to ask him and not know his reaction, that was kind of nerve-wracking. But Larry came in, he agreed to it, he was a trooper, he was a friend, he showed up for a couple of guys that probably didn't know what they were doing, but were trying their best to fake it, and really contributes an important role, I think, in a certain moment in this film with Cecil.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Rolling.
Rolling.
Okay. And action.
You have to keep me center frame though, okay?
Okay.
Jacob, cut. I'm sorry.
Very good.
Oh, and we have a Mazda coming on this side.
Okay, let's hold then.
Are we ready?
I'm ready if you are.
Ready.
Action!
Of course, when you do something like this for the first time, you've just got to be doing it with a crew that is really understanding and really patient with you. And maybe there's things that they would change that they just didn't say. And maybe there's things that they're thinking that might disagree with what you're doing. I think the crew that we had making this film, and I use crew very loosely because it was such a small group of friends, actually making this thing. But I think the crew's patience in really working with me and really trying to be understanding with me and understand my nerves and understand my hesitation in certain areas, but also to encourage me to do these things and show up every day and show up on time and enjoy the time that we have together and really work as a team to get this thing done. I'm so grateful for it. I honestly am. Those guys, we've known each other. Some of us have known each other for 3 years now. And I think, yes, you joke around a lot with this group of guys. Yes, you hang out with these guys quite frequently and you're in the same space at a lot of the same times. But, even in joking around with those guys and in all seriousness, I am extremely grateful for everyone that worked on this project with me. Daniel and Wilman, those two guys were killing it in sound. Those two guys were there every single day, really uplifting the environment.
You are a big body man.
It might like that though.
I feel like anime is an acquired taste kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob was propelling everybody forward and making sure that we all stayed on task.
Coverage, close up, take 2. Mark.
Ricardo and Marshall really working as a team to get the shots that we needed to in the way that we needed to get them.
That's why I didn't say anything, because that picture's coming. Colonel Sanders. Yeah.
Third day on set.
I'm so grateful for everyone that worked on this project with me.
Not always.